White Sox have had an interesting offseason. They went to go sign the short of Wilton to get Mike Clevenger to sort through a rotation, but that signing was met with some domestic abuse allegations that came out. And in terms of even like a bat wise, they added a bat that I really wanted the Tigers to go after, and that was Andrew Benintendi. But beyond that, and really, this is a team that doesn't really spend a lot on free agency, anyways. But there was a lot of in-house fighting last year with Tony La Russa. The whole season last year for Chicago, they were predicted at one point to be going to the World Series, and it just all went downhill so fast. Sleepy guy in the wheel in Tony La Russa, but new manager, and hopefully for White Sox fans, they were done by then. They were done with the season by July.
It seemed like they were waiting for the White Sox to just finally wake up, and it just never happened. And then meanwhile, Cleveland woke up and ran away with it at the very end of the year. But yeah, I mean, I am inclined to rank the White Sox third in the division, but it would not shock me entirely if they finished last in the division, honestly, because they do have, they have some good starting pitching. Dylan Cease took a step forward last year. Lucas Giolito had an awful year. And he's got to bounce back, but I think it's his final year before he's a free agent. So, we know how that goes usually. Guys figure things out. And Giolito has kind of had a career of adjustments. He was awful, and then he got really good, and then he's awful again. So maybe he'll have a bounce back year. And you got Lance Lynn, who's a quality veteran. But yeah, I don't know. They like you said, they were adding Mike Clevenger to help with the rotation, but really seems unlikely that he's going to pitch for him at all this year. They lost Jose Abreu. You're hoping that, I guess, Andrew Vaughn fills in where Abreu was, the big-time run producer for all those years. And Benintendi is a solid bat, but he's not necessarily like – they're another team that didn't hit for a ton of power, surprisingly, last year. Yasmani Grandal had a terrible year. Eloy Jimenez can't seem to stay healthy. So, and Yohan Moncada has never really become that superstar that he was projected. So it's a really volatile team that I could see going – either direction, 70 wins, 90 wins, but they do not have much in the way at all of depth or prospects ready to come up and help. And yeah, like you said, it's kind of remarkable. This is a team that won 91 games 2 years ago, and they look like a World Series contender. And then here they are a couple years later, and they let Carlos Rodon go, they let Abreu go, they don't spend money. Well, Andrew Benintendi was their biggest free agent contract ever, I think, right? And it just like it's weird because he's not the sort of player that I would break the bank for like that. So yeah, I can, like I said, right now I would put money on them being third in the division, but it would not shock me one way or at all if they were fifth or first, really. I mean, they have some talent.
They do have a lot of talent, but I think they're one or two injuries away from being the last. So I'm going to go, yeah. I think they're going to finish just above the Tigers.